Hey, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about William Kent Krueger. I got to actually meet him and listened to him speak at an event recently. And we're also going to talk about This Tender Land, a book that I finished not too long ago. So yeah, maybe let's get into the speaking event that I got to see him at. It was actually put on by the library that I work at, which is really cool that we got to host him. It was through my library and then sponsored by a few different organizations. And I was lucky enough to go, and I brought my sister as my date, and we had a great time. The food was amazing, and it was a great atmosphere. He was a wonderful speaker. I knew he would be just because of how well his storytelling is, but if you ever get the chance to see him in person, highly recommend it. Yes, my chair is very squeaky, but I highly recommend it if you get the chance to go see him speak. He's a great storyteller. And basically I'll insert a couple clips here, and you can hear kind of him. He had a lovely thing to say about the workers at the library, and then just an excerpt from one of his books, which happened to be the book that I was reading at the time, This Tender Land. So I'll insert those here if I still have them. I think I do. I'll insert those here.
So the first thing I'd like to ask you to do this evening is join me in a round of applause for the good work our libraries and our librarians do for us all. To every possibility, where there is nothing your heart can imagine, it is not so. The tale I'm going to tell is of a summer long ago, of killing and kidnapping and children pursued by demons of 1,000 names. There will be courage in the story and cowardice. There will be love and betrayal. And of course, there will be hope. In the end, isn't that what every good story is about?
And then basically the bulk of what his speech was about, his little talk, was about stories and storytelling, and it was very lovely. And at one point he started talking about the Bible, and I'm like, uh-oh, is he gonna like start getting preachy on us? And he didn't. I know that he is a man of faith himself, and I am not a person of faith, but that's okay. It's okay if you disagree with me, and it's okay if I disagree with you. But he did not in any way get preachy or anything. It was just part of his speech. And a big part of what he said was how the Bible is just this big book of stories, these beautiful, wonderful stories. And I completely agree with him. I think it is just a book of stories. And, you know, he of course feels more passionately about those stories than I do. But I loved the way that he talked about it and could relate to it. I think that that's beautiful. And he had a lot of wonderful things to say about storytelling and how stories can shape our lives and the different ways that they shape our lives. And it was a great speech. I really enjoyed listening to him. And he also talked about I say a lot. I'm really sorry. I just was noticing that about myself. He was also talked about his writing process, which was really interesting to hear. He talked about his characters in his books, where he gets his ideas for his characters, where he gets even his names for characters, which was really interesting. Yeah, just he went into more details about his personal life and his characters, his process. He took questions from the audience. It was a really nice, lovely event, and he was a really good storyteller, and I highly recommend seeing him. I did. I'm guessing he's speaking right now, doing these events because his new book is out from the Cork O'Connor series, which I have not read any of. It's like book number 22 or something. This is a big series. And you could buy his new book, which I don't know if it's out now. It comes out in September. It might be out by now. But you could buy it at the event before it was even out, which was really cool. And then he had a bunch of his backlisted books there as well to buy. So I purchased The River We Remember. My sister purchased another book. And he kind of said that those three, along with the one my sister purchased, were kind of like tied together somehow. I'm not really sure if it's just like the area, like the locations were tied together at some point, or the time period. I can't remember how he worded that. But anyway, so I'm really excited to dive into this one as well at some point, or maybe the one that my sister has, if that's kind of like the next, it's not like a series by any means, but he just made it sound like they were kind of like tied together. And I did get my book signed. I'm trying to find, here is where he signed it. If you can see that. He wrote to Rachel, peace, and then his name, if y'all can see that. Pretty cool. He was just a very lovely man. And he talked a lot about This Tender Land, which was the book that I was reading while I saw him. Unfortunately, I hadn't finished it yet. When I saw him, I was 75% the way through, so I wasn't quite finished yet. I felt really bad, but I told him, I was like, I'm reading This Tender Land. I'm loving it. I'm like 75% through. And he's like, oh, good. I think he said, I hope you finish it, or I hope you're enjoying it. I can't remember. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to finish it. I told him how much I was enjoying it, and I felt really bad that I hadn't finished it, but I wanted to be honest with him. So yeah, and then I finished it not too long after that, but life was just hectic at that point last month, so I hadn't finished it yet. And it's also quite a hefty book. It's like 450 pages, so it's a longer book for sure. And I wanted to like savor it and take it in. It's a beautiful story. So, but I was really happy to hear that this is just like really special to him and one of his favorites. And he spoke about it a lot, and like talking about how Odie is one of his favorite characters. And yeah, he spoke about this book a lot. So I was really happy that this is the first one of his that I've read, and I knew what he was talking about. And yeah, so that's a little bit about the event. So if you ever get the chance to see William Kent Krueger in person, I highly recommend going to see him. He was just a really lovely storyteller and such a kind-hearted man, and we really enjoyed listening to him. So anyway, getting into This Tender Land by William Kent Krueger. If you are into historical fiction, general fiction, stories about I don't know, I did write down a few things, but like coming of age stories, highly recommend this one, even if you're not so sure about that. I just think that this is such a beautiful read. It has like a little bit of everything in it too. So this is about, I don't want to give too much away, but we're at the Lincoln Indian Training School, and it's where like Native American children, they're basically ripped from their parents, their families, and they're separated from their families, and they're sent there to be educated. I believe this specific school is fake, but there were these schools in history, obviously. I don't think this specific one was a real one. I think it's fake, but you know, obviously these atrocities happened in real life. That was another thing that he spoke about. And another thing I just totally forgot. Another reason why I wanted to go to this, not just because it was put on by where I work. He writes a lot about, he's from Minnesota. That's where I'm from. He lives in the Twin Cities. I'm from northern Minnesota, but he writes a lot about northern Minnesota. He's even written about where I'm from. And so a lot of the places that he talks about, I know exactly where he's talking about. And I don't know, I think that that's really interesting where he's like talking about a certain city, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know where he's talking about. Especially if it's like the city I grew up at. So I just think that that's really interesting. So a lot of the places that he talks about is in Minnesota or Minnesota adjacent. So that's really cool too. And this does take place mostly in Minnesota. So on the banks of Minnesota's Gilead River. So yeah, and this takes place in 1932. So yeah, and another thing he talks a lot about in his books, indigenous folks. I think specifically the Sioux tribe. Was that the one? Oh, I'm so sorry if that's not correct. He talked about it a lot in his speech as well, about how much that means to him. Was it the Sioux tribe? Oh, now I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But I'm sure he talks about it a lot in his own spaces, but that's a big part in all of his books too. So that was really interesting to listen to as well. But our narrator here is Odie O'Banion, and what a great character. He is a child. I think he's like 11, I want to say. And he has a brother, Albert. And then the main four in this story is Odie, Albert, Mose, and Emmy. And the first part of the book is taking place at this school, and it is a school for Indians, indigenous. He uses the word Indians. This is 1932, but indigenous folks. And Albert and Odie are the only white kids there. Emmy is white, but she does not go to the school, but she is part of the story. It'll make sense when you're reading it, but just to confirm, Odie and Albert do go to this Indian school, but they are white. Long story short, these four are on the run. Something has happened, and they are now on the run. Just these four kids, and the way that they're on the run is they take a canoe, and they are going down the Mississippi. And their idea is to go to St. Louis because they have Odie and Albert have an aunt in St. Louis that they somewhat remember. Their parents have passed, and they think they remember having an aunt in St. Louis. This whole time I'm thinking, like, what if she's not there? What if she's dead? What if she doesn't care about you guys? Like, I'm just like, and so much happens to them in this book. It's just like one thing after another. And the whole point of this whole story basically is trying to find your home and keeping your faith when there's no reason to have any more faith in your life. Like, truly. So he does talk about religion and faith. It's not anything that's getting shoved down your throat. I even looked on Goodreads to see if this was considered like a religious read, or under what would it be under? Did they put it under, religion or not Catholic? What's the Christian reads? It's not anything like that. It's just part of the story, but it's not, don't worry, it's not like that. But it is part of the book for sure. Yeah, it's a beautiful coming of age. It's also, there's some trigger warnings. It's also very heartbreaking. There's a lot of substance abuse, child abuse, neglect. It definitely has some suspenseful, thrilling type of moments in it. Yeah, it definitely talks about some horrible things. Obviously back in those days, I mean now as well, but back in those days, just awful things were happening to so many people. But I mean, one of them in particular, Mose, is a mute individual. He had his tongue cut out. so right there. He was such a beautiful character. Oh my god, I love Mose so much. I loved all of them so much. They were all such unique individuals, and they each brought something so unique to the story and made the story what it was. Like, they were each one, like, you needed each one in this story for sure. I loved Odie though. He was such a great narrator. I loved him so much. One of my favorite characters. Like, he'll stick with me for a long time for sure. So yeah, basically this whole story is them trying to find their place in the world and trying to find a home, and whatever that means, you know. They don't know what that means. And it's a beautiful story. It's very hard to read at times. What happens to these children is just like what more can they take, you know? But yeah, it's very hard, but it's very beautiful as well. It's I highly recommend it. Like I said, I don't want to get into it too much because I just think you need to know that and just that. And I still think that I don't... Okay. I don't think that's giving anything away. I'm just... Yeah. That's what the synopsis says, that they're on this journey. So anyway, I gave it 5 stars. Absolutely. It's got a great rating on Goodreads, like 4.3 something or something. So that was This Tender Land by William Kent Krueger. Let me know if you have read this or what else you have read by him. Let me know if you've read his Cork O'Connor series and if I need to give it a try. I'm willing to give it a try, but y'all, 22 books. I think it's 22 books in the series. That's kind of wackadoodle. I don't know if I can commit to that, but I'm down to read like at least the first one to see if it's anything I'm interested in. I mean, he's a great writer. He's a great storyteller. So if nothing else, he did say, someone asked him if he enjoys his series, writing his series more or standalones, and he said his standalones, which kind of surprised me. Like, not really, but kind of, right? So yeah. I also just quickly wanted to say, because I don't actually think I ever announced what our book club pick was for this month. Okay, sorry about that. A little out of breath. Like I was saying, I don't think I ever told you guys what our new book was going to be for... What month is it? September. I always post it on my socials and everything, and it's always linked in my link tree down below. And Peanut. We are on the Fable app at the TBR and DNF book club, but we are reading Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar. This is going to be our second Adam Cesar book of the year, random. But I am 82 pages in only. Well, it's only the 13th, so it's okay. But this is a YA book, I believe, right? Yeah. It's not like quite what I was expecting, but I'm liking it. This is exactly how his other book was, Influencer. The chapters are fairly short, and they kind of leave you with a little like a little something at the end to make you want to keep reading, which I appreciate. I wasn't expecting it to get like it's got a little political on the last chapter. Okay. And it's almost seeming like it's kids versus adults type of. The kids are not all right. Okay. Y'all know I do not read the synopsis of the book, and I think the synopsis would tell us that. So, okay, that makes more sense too. So anyway, I didn't realize that that's what it was because I do not read the synopsis, so that's on me. But interesting. Okay, I like that take. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be a fun, quick read, like a good slasher. I like a good slasher. And I'm excited for that. I'm also reading the sequel to Bunny. We Love You, Bunny. So excited. It's everything I want. I'm really into it. I'm only 2% in, but I'm already loving it. So anyway, that's besides the point. But so our read for this month is Clown in a Cornfield. Next month, I think, will be this beaut right here, The Exorcist. So just a little sneak peek. I really wish I had the glow-in-the-dark copy, but I'm trying to be good and not have two of the same copy, like editions, but I would love to have the glow-in-the-dark copy. But anyway, so this is what we're reading for September, if you're wondering. If you would like to read along, the link is down in the description in my link tree in the Fable app, or you could just read along. So let me know down below if you have read This Tender Land or anything else by William Kent Krueger. Let me know also if you've been to any of his signings or book events and what you thought. I really enjoyed him. And yeah, any other comments you'd like to leave down below. I am out of breath from running outside. Yeah, like and subscribe. Subscribe if you are not subscribed already. And I guess I will just catch you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.